Coming up in this episode.
It's not enough just to put it onto the App Store. Someone needs to discover it. So what you need to do, you need to speak to the users by Instagram, by TikTok, via various methods. You have to speak to retailers to deliver them the idea, and it's a lot of work.
I was thinking, he asked me outright, it's like, how do you interact with content online? And I was thinking about it. It's like, do you judge that person for the content? It's like, not really, unless they put something really outrageous or controversial out there, not really. I'm like, right. So that's how people are going to view your content. So don't overthink it, just put it out there.
I'm now in a new position. There's nobody above me. I have to drive the whole thing, and I'm learning to be the driver. And if something didn't work one day, just relax and come back to it the next day. So it's just the change of your whole role.
The Founders Unplugged podcast, hosted by Greg McCallum. Raw, unedited conversations with entrepreneurs and startup founders.
Hello.
There we go.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can. Can you hear and see me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. That's the way to go then. It's funny. I always say it's that's the new greeting in 2023. That when we meet people in real life, we might end up saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Can you see me okay? Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very well. This
So
is the proper icebreaker, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how are things?
Things are good. We launched yesterday, basically the night before yesterday.
Yeah. Excellent. Exciting.
Yeah.
How did it go?
It was all good. I mean, no big crash or anything. So everything works, and people who downloaded and sent us feedback said, well, this is fine, this is nice, it works good, and I would request something additional. That feature would be perfect as well. But basically, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Really exciting. I'm so glad for you. I'm very happy. That's we'll get more into detail on that for sure. But wonderful. Look, before we get going, there, like I said to you when we first spoke, there isn't an enormous amount of structure to this show, other than just two people sat talking, right? But one thing I do like to do at the beginning is ask my guests to introduce themselves and introduce the business, and you can go into as much detail as you like or as little. It's entirely up to you. So yeah, I'll pass the spotlight over to you, as it were, and you take it away.
Okay, my name is Anastasia, and we are a team of 3, basically 4, because we have an advisor who helps us a lot as well. And altogether, we are building Stora, and Stora is the platform, the shopping platform that is going to. This is basically a different type of media for. Oh, thank you.
It's all right. While you're explaining it, I might as well share
it. That helps. So this is basically going to be the new type of media for e-commerce businesses and their customers to meet more and more effectively in the way that they're craving now. Because I think we're picking up on the change in the industry that is very hot at the moment. What we can see, and I think as I'm going to speak, you will probably also think it is the case. More and more people are trying to find new, interesting stores, brands that would fit them perfectly. And they would be niche brands, big brands, lots of brands. And they really want to shop there. And at the same time, many retailers opt out from marketplaces, and they want to develop their brand. They want to keep their customers to themselves and invest a lot of money in it. They shoot photos, videos, images. They create the image and go to the world with it. And they want to be strong in the market. That's how they do their business. And at the moment, because the competition is so big, that brands want to be the first ones, and the competition is very big. It is pretty much impossible to keep most of the customers that you have reached in your ads, in your marketing campaigns, etc. Because one person simply can't hold the big amount of brands and names and stores and URLs and links, so that at the time when they need to make a purchase, I don't know, to buy a pair of jeans or boots or a present for the partner, it's hard for them to remember all those brands they've seen throughout the year, especially remember the names. They might think, oh, I saw, I don't know, some nice jeans somewhere. Where was that? Where did I see that? They're trying to find and trace the location back to where they saw it. I don't know, I saw it on Instagram, or maybe it was because my friend was wearing something from them and posted. And what people do, they mostly don't try to remember the brand names anymore. They're trying to trace back the situation where they saw the image of those boots. And what we're building, basically, we want to give users and customers the platform where they will be able to save all those stores and brands that ever worked for them, so that next time they want to buy something, with the power of UX, they will get to that brand, they will get to that store, to that URL, and will find that pair of shoes or another pair of shoes in the style of that brand, and it will work for them and they will make a happy purchase. That's pretty much the idea. And of course, for the retailers, we see, because they are investing so much in their brand, and because they want to do business without being on the marketplace and enjoying all those big audiences, they also need a platform to be able to stand out in this huge competition.
Yeah.
So we believe that the platform we're building is going to work for both sides. Customers will be happily shopping at the places they want, and the shopping and the retailers will be able to be seen by their audience at the moment of shopping, which is a very important thing.
Definitely, and increasingly, I was going to say there is increasingly the competition is not so much on the high street, right? These days, it's on people's phones. So it's about how do you capture that attention, because attention is the currency these days, right? And if it's going to be it's usually on social media these days. It's a lot of brands are tapping into the power of TikTok, especially, and Instagram and things like that. But there has to be more ways of being able to capture people's attention on their devices. So this is tapping into something very, very important right now, isn't it, for brands, I imagine. But it's interesting as well, because I was thinking, well, how do I do this right now? How do I manage this? And I know how I do it. I've got like 80 tabs open in my browser on my phone, because I'm just like, I'll keep that tab open because one day I'll go back to it. And then like at the end of the year, like I'll go through all my tabs. I've got like 5, and then I've got 500 open. My phone's running like a snail. And then I'll look through and I'm like, no, I'm never going to buy that. What the fuck was I thinking? Why did I have that open? Like, and then I just close all these tabs down. So yeah, this is like a much more organized way of doing that.
Yeah, thank you. You're one of the pain points. We know.
I'm definitely a pain point. Yeah, you're right.
No. Maybe I'm sorry. What I meant is,
ask my wife. I am definitely a pain point.
Yeah, what I meant is, people solve this problem in so many ways, you're one of these ways. Some people do screenshots. And then
you've got a gallery full of stuff. Yeah.
And then you see your picture, your child's picture, and then a pair of boots, or I don't know, a document, everything.
Yeah, and you're just like, why have we got a picture of my friend's feet in this? Like, this is weird. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, very good. And also just for context for people listening and watching, like you said that it launched yesterday, but by the time people listen to this, because obviously, I film a lot of these very much in advance, so this probably is going to be quite a few weeks in advance. So you'd have been going a lot longer by that point. So I imagine your website will probably look a bit different by that point, and other things, so just so there's context there in case people are confused. And I imagine you're going to get a lot more feedback as a result. But it's great that already within a day you're already getting feedback. That's fantastic. So are you already starting to map out that feedback and sort of formulate some sort of plan for what you're going to do with that feedback?
Well, yes, yes and no. I mean, on the one hand, we have this strategy of where we're going, and it is important to keep the track because there is always a temptation to when you are diving into a feature, you want to make it perfect. I'm sorry. Oh, this is my camera. It's good that you're seeing me through my Mac camera, not from my phone, because it just dropped. And on the other hand, of course, it is huge help to understand what doesn't work properly. And we are, of course, collecting all that feedback at the moment to make sure everything is done right and user-friendly, because UX is the #1 importance in this whole thing. And on the other hand, that's really amazing. We posted our product on some platforms, even. So our designer posted on one design hub, etc., and people are very active there, and they're testing, they're making their comments, etc. And what we noticed that some people say, "Oh wow, it would be very nice if you did that and that," and we already have that in the plan, and that is very exciting.
That's nice and validating, isn't it? To know that your roadmap is on the right track. I suppose, and you're absolutely right. I suppose you have to really balance it out with just sort of oddball requests here and there and being pulled away from your master plan. But I suppose, if in the next month or so everyone starts asking for something that you hadn't thought of, you might go, maybe we need to think about adding that, right? But how did you? So you built a waiting list prior to this. Were you quite happy with the size of that waiting list before you launched?
Well, it wasn't very big.
Okay.
It wasn't very big because we were not building it. It wasn't our top priority thing.
Right.
It was one of the things we needed to do, and we needed to do a lot of things. Develop it first of all. Create a pitch deck. Create the strategy, make a lot of documentation and foundation to make sure that the platform works after the first launch and doesn't break into pieces and we don't know what to do. Oh, localization. Oh, how do we do internationalization, etc. So we're trying to prepare it, properly. And also we were trying to make sure that we launch as soon as possible. It's always, you read different articles and watch different videos where people have different opinions, and one of them we liked is and chose for ourselves is to launch as soon as possible with our first MVP. I'm
a big supporter of that idea. Get it into the hands of customers ASAP. But for the reasons we just talked about in terms of feedback, primarily.
Of course. Yes, absolutely. In terms of feedback, if I go in the right way, the right direction, if we do things right, or people just, I don't know, they don't even want to download or download and drop it. Even if you talk with your friends and people some people, you believe that some people are true to you and not just being polite to you, especially when they test it, especially when they do all the steps, because they do a job, they invest their time in it, and so this feedback, honest, open, detailed, is very valuable, and we need to know whether we're going in the right direction. And also, because we're going the investment route, it also is needed to have the feedback, on our pages collected, analyzed, addressed, to have traction. This is also important, and that's why we decided that we'll launch as soon as possible, and we did that. So that's AP.
Yeah, and you mentioned you're going the investment route. So why have you decided to go that route? Is it just because of the plans for the platform demand that the funding is needed in order to go that route, or what? Yeah, what you're nodding, so I'm assuming I hit the nail on the head there. I'm assuming then the plan is to try and get as many users as possible, get as much feedback as possible, and then go for investment, right?
Well, two things, of course. It's a little bit hard to to work without being paid.
Yeah,
So
money is nice. Yeah,
money is nice to have.
Yeah.
And the other thing is we are trying to build this platform which is going to be used by people and the retailers, and we want to bring them together. We want our platform to become the main point of contact for them. And it is important that we build a really solid and secure platform, so that, I don't know, at one point something breaks and our customers, retailers that trust us and become a little bit dependent on that platform, if they retain their customers on our platform, something breaks, something just doesn't work. We can't do that. So we understand it must be a solid thing. Well, our team is robust. Our CTO, our developer, is really cool. He's a code, scientist. He just dives into the code and finds things and likes things in order. So we trust him, but we understand that he needs help because the system is going to be big. We need a lot of back-end work, and we need to make sure that everything works perfectly and right. And also, we don't need to develop 10 years, Speed also important, is also important.
Yeah.
So that the people that we're launched for now, so they download it, they might continue using the feature that is there at the moment. But it will be nice to give them the features we're planning to give them. And also check whether we're going the right route, or make them stay on our platform and be even more happy and spread the word. And
I suppose there's also the B2B element, which is a quite a difficult thing to develop without funds more often than not, right? Unless you've got a lot of time.
Yes.
which we all don't have an enormous amount of when we're building products and trying to test things out and get feedback and everything else. So if you don't mind, really quickly, can we just take a bit of a step back though, because of ordinarily in the beginning when I ask people to introduce themselves, they don't just say their name and then skip to the business. So you kind of threw a spanner in the works for me, because I was going to share your LinkedIn profile on the screen. You just said my name's Anastasia, and then started describing the business. So tell us a bit more about you, like what led up to in your career, I'm not saying like job interview style, having to tell us everything, but who is Anastasia? Tell us a bit about you and what led to the idea of Stora.
Well, Anastasia is a product development specialist. For 6 years.
I like the way you're going third person, by the way. This is really cool. And no one's done third person yet, so that's.
I just, I picked what you gave me. I worked for product development for 6 years. So it's strategic development is what I like, what I do. Oh, hello. And I've been working in IT particularly for 4 years. 4 years, I think, since 2018. Is it 4 or 5? 5 now. And I've done lots of things in IT. I started with being a UX writer because when I did product development, I was working in Expo. It's nice. I love Expo. But after I had a child, I needed more freedom to stay home and work from home. So that was the basic idea why. And as I was starting having more and more opportunity to work, I found a job as a UX writer to understand the industry, to get in. And so for a year and a half, I worked as a UX writer, a content developer. I was project managing UX optimization project at Y Clients, one of the company, and things like that. And then I joined Datamilk.
Right.
I joined Datamilk. This is the e-commerce company that actually brought me to this whole idea.
Oh, okay.
It is not a competitor what we're building at all. It's absolutely different. It is an AI solution for e-commerce retailers that works directly on their website. So I'm not stealing anything. I'm clean
Not
here.
yet.
Yeah. No, never. So, and when I was working there, I was working a lot with understanding the pains of the retailers, of what they want, what they struggle with, what they do, what they target. And so it was throughout the year, and the idea just came to me, we were talking with friends, talking business, somebody was talking about B2B, somebody was talking about B2C, what they prefer, etc. And it was just the chat. And somebody said that B2B can never give you like the Google amount of, you can't become the next Google if you're a B2B product. And it just came to me, what would it be in that case with e-commerce? What can you do, B2C to become the next Google? And it just just fell on me. It was interesting because it was in the evening and I was sitting like listening to my thoughts. And then I came to my husband, he worked in Datamilk with me as well, and he works on the project with me now. So we are partners. He's a designer and I'm a product development specialist. And I just remember that I told him everything. I was just telling him. He left, we were lying in bed and he was staying silent. We were lying like that. Wow. Yeah, it works for us. That was interesting. But we were working at Datamilk back then. And we did nothing. It was last November, I think. And we left Datamilk eventually. And Sasha found another job, and I was just looking, staying with my child, etc. And we came back to the idea. It never left. And when we came back to the idea, it was exactly at the moment the same as it when it hit us. So we decided just let's try, let's do something, let's find a developer. Okay, found a developer. Let's just think what features would be. Found out it was I didn't want to be a startup owner or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't something I was going for. I liked the idea, and I was looking for a job back then, and I thought that if I had a job opportunity in a place like that, I would be happy. That's what I would be happy to do. And it we just started, and it basically went on its own. That's how I feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
The idea sort of got a life of its own almost, and sort of took over your lives. Yeah. It's interesting that you described it like like the way you've just have, because it's and you never wanted to build a startup, that you said, which is interesting, because I know a lot of founders who feel that way, where it's like the idea is what's just moving everything forward. They've got little control over it. They feel like they're a passenger to their own idea, because the idea becomes like a virus in their minds, and then especially, and then you share it with other people, it becomes a virus in their minds, and it's just like, we've just got to do this thing. We've got no option. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I mean, and I really like what you said about that essentially this idea was born out of the challenge of that your friend gave you of, no one can build, a B2B version of Google.
Yep.
Like, is that the ultimate ambition then? You want to build the sort of Google for B2C, B2B in the e-commerce, in the commerce space? Is that the goal?
I realized that and when I was saying that, I spotted that that was the thing you will probably catch. Well, frankly, again, it's not the ambition that I want in my life, and I was looking for something.
But there's nothing wrong with that ambition, by the way. I'm not asking because I feel like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I kind of like that.
I know. It's the idea. I just realize if we become big, it will work. If
Right.
it's smaller, it will have to be a lot of compromises, like to be able to be a business and survive, we would have to charge, I don't know, users or maybe retailers for an account in the platform. Also an option, not as good, not as liberating, not as we have as it is planned at the moment. So yes, we are trying, and that is one of the reasons why we're going the investment route. Because if we develop ourselves, we will have to charge clients tomorrow to be able to continue. But we believe that the product has a potential to be, the next big platform, must have for all retailers, where they come in, where they build their identity, their brand, and build their customer base and retain it. And at the same time, they can be there for free. And why it is important, so that users would be also using the platform without without compromising anything. Like they want to find that brand, and they find that brand because it's on the platform. If we start limiting it, it would mean only the brands that can afford paying for the platform will be there. Okay, so we would love to start big, and we'll see how it goes. That's what I would say.
So then that begs the question: how is the business planning on making any revenue if you're not charging either end of the usership for any membership or fees? What's the revenue model?
That's pretty much easy. We want to have the revenue from advertising and the upgraded features and the premium features. We want retailers to be present for free, and we know what we can give them to increase their sales, to streamline it for the user in a way that they would wish to choose them more, etc. And they will be the premium features for retailers, not for users. Users must be free. That's the idea. And of course, advertising. Advertising is a huge market. If you look at the numbers, you can see like, what does this number mean even? And how do you feel that? It's huge. If you take all the internet advertising at Google, Instagram,
of course,
even in the US, just one market, it will be just huge money. So even if we take 10% of that huge money, we will be already very profitable in 5 years, let's say. So that's the idea.
Does that not create a pay-to-win situation potentially? In that, if the brands that have the money to spend on the premium features and the ads, then potentially they're the ones that's going to get the most attention over the smaller ones, perhaps. So how are you planning on maybe ensuring that there's an even playing field, regardless?
Well, of course, we're not, having our mission to equalize the market,
right?
To make it equal. This is not the plan, but we understand that even if you talk about the bigger brands, and they have more resources to spend on advertising and premium features. Of course, premium features, again, advertising premium features, we would think about the pricing to make sure that maybe everybody will be able to afford the premium features if they are worth the price, etc. And as you say about spending advertising, like the bigger brand is usually a universal brand. They have all types of clothing, they have boots, they have accessories, they have kids, menswear, womenswear, etc. So of course they must have a bigger audience. They must spend more on advertising. And yes, again, as I said, it's not our main task to make the market equal and to break the big brands, and
because it's not equal already, right? That's not your job to democratize the world of commerce. No, I get that. No, it's just a thought, but no, that makes sense. So and I think a really admirable thing to do, because you're right. That's one of the bigger barriers with a lot of platforms for B2B, B2C is that someone has to end up paying for it, and of course that means that the barrier of entry is a lot higher. So that's a good way to do things. So are there some, I'm assuming then that there are some significant differences to the platform now versus what you imagine it will be moving forward, and is that a lot to do with kind of what the premium version of the product will look like, so the monetization features that would be part of monetization? Is that a lot of the stuff that would be coming sort of later?
Yeah, of course, later.
Yeah.
Especially at the moment, the MVP that we have launched, it is not the core feature.
Right.
It is the feature to be able to bring as many users to the platform.
Yeah.
So this is, at the moment, it is basically a all-store wishlist app. You know, you share the link to Stora and you rediscover it whenever you want, and we make it, I don't know, very easy for you. We have lots of different tools. We have, I don't know, pin, unpin, search, etc., sort by, so all those features, so that you don't scroll down like your photos and try to find what you have made a screenshot of, or I don't know, a tab that you left unclosed, etc. So we're working on that, and this is the MVP that is aimed to bring as many users to the platform, because you see, when we were thinking about it, we realized, okay, this is the platform we want it to be. Why would retailers come to us if we have no user?
Right. It's the chicken and egg problem with any market.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah,
absolutely. You have to bring the user, and we started thinking what the user wants at the moment, and we found that problem that you said. How you solve this problem? You leave tabs unclosed. Someone makes screenshots. Someone like does a very hard work trying to organize it in Notion, in I don't know, in notes or somewhere. So people solve this in different ways, and we believe that this tool is needed by users, at least. So our aim of this MVP is to bring as many users as possible, and we will be slightly giving them the features that will lead to the core product view. That's the idea.
Can you do me a favor and create another version of this, but specifically for food items and for tech that I don't need to buy? Because that's what I spend most of my time with tabs. I've got so many tabs open of like just random pieces of fish that I found that I would like to cook, because I'm the home cook, right? And I'm like, oh, that looks like a nice bit. I bet it's nice, or like a nice butcher shop that I found, or like a computer monitor that I don't need, like what I mean, stuff like that.
We thought about that, absolutely, because you start developing the feature and you think, oh my God, what about, I don't know, the articles I want to read? Oh my God, what about other things? So there's always a temptation to miss the track.
Exactly. Like just like a Pinterest for life, right? That's
a good idea. We'll think about it.
Yeah. Well, well, it's very exciting, and I'm curious to know though what you mentioned about the part of the journey, which you kind of just like very casually said, you and your partner were just like, okay, let's find a developer, and got a developer. Like that's actually quite a huge step for a lot of people. They don't even know where to start, right? Obviously, I assume you've got some sort of advantage because of your previous career, but a lot of people have not touched the career of working with products, in terms of software before. So how did you go about that? Was it just your existing network and you just sort of put the word out there and said, hey, we're looking for a developer, and then you just sort of found one? Or what was the situation there?
Yeah, it's existing network, yes. And also, there are lots of various chats of people of the industry, groups and chats on various resources on Facebook, for instance. So what we did, we would spread the word saying, hey, we're looking for a developer, we don't have investment yet, etc. So maybe someone's interested. And there would also be, I don't know, 1-2 people saying, well, let's talk. And we talked and discussed, and somebody wasn't interested, somebody was. Someone we liked, someone didn't like us. So, and in the end, we just found the person. And also, just you go online, you find some information, and you go step by step. For instance, we didn't know much about, investment, seed, pre-seed. What do we start with? Should we go angels route, or should we go to a VC? So it's always talk. You apply to a VC, you have a call, you speak to them, you understand maybe it's too early. You speak to another one and another one. We had a lot of conversations with various VCs, and all of them said, well, this is an early stage for us. Even though it says it's an early stage VC, it's too early a stage. So
every single founder I've ever spoken to has gone through exactly the same thing as you. Like everyone goes to the VCs first. The VCs say you're too early, and they go, oh right, angel investment, of course. And you're like, didn't even know that was a thing, and then sort of take a step back. But it's useful because some VCs, not all of them, but some of them can actually be quite helpful.
Yeah, at least they give advice. And you learn by going various routes, etc.
Yeah.
And now, just as I mentioned, I know a lot about product development, and we have a designer, full stack designer. He does branding, he does product design, UX design, etc. And we have a very robust CTO, and there was no professional person in investment, and we found one. She is a startup advisor, and we realized, okay, we can learn these things we don't know from scratch, or we have the person who knows a lot, who can lead us in this whole unknown area for us. And we were very happy that she decided to join us. She also liked the idea. She is more, I think she specializes in AI. I'll double check again. I'm sorry, I forgot. But it was long ago, so many things happened. And she liked the idea. She said, okay, I think I can lead you as well. And she's with us, and we are very happy. We have weekly calls. We speak to her. What do you think about that? And she strategically thinks, okay, maybe this will be 3 years because of these threats and these threats. And this is very helpful that she's on board. So I think, it's people,
Well, look, as a commercial advisor, hearing you describe the value of an advisor to my audience is very appreciated. Thank you. Especially one that works primarily with marketplaces, funnily enough. Like, that's really good to hear. So I'm guessing that, the route to finding your CTO, your designer, and all that same, and the advisor, same sort of thing, just putting your word out there, asking around, and just speaking to people, right? And sitting down with people.
Yes. It's especially, this is one of the changes that I'm going through at the moment, because I'm quite a closed person. I don't really like to put myself out there. My LinkedIn is
welcome to the show.
I found myself in a podcast so this is the change I'm going through at the moment.
But and again, it's interesting, because if I hear that from a lot of people who, they're thrust into foundership, right? And the demand of a founder is to be like that. You can't really succeed without wanting to speak to any and everyone and make connections and network, basically. And it's a skill that a lot of founders originally didn't have, that they've just had to learn that they need to have in order to be successful. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing to learn how to be more confident in, just speaking with people and talking about yourself, especially. That's quite uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially talking about how good they are at something. That's even more uncomfortable, because if investors and potential team members are always going to ask, well, why are you the right person to make this successful? And you can't sort of go, well, I don't know if I am. Like, I'm all right. You can't. That's not good enough, is it? You've got to be like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm actually great. And that's really hard to do. I'm guilty of that and have been. It's like we all are. We want to be a bit humble, and we're always a bit wary of the person that's like, yeah, I'm fucking great. We're like, okay, mate, calm down. So it's interesting that you're going through a similar journey. So what sort of things, aside from just going out there and putting yourself out there, what sort of things are you doing to maybe try and work that muscle?
Well, it's probably not muscle. It's the thing that is already quite developed. It's thinking and strategically thinking for the future. Because, like, okay, we have this product at the moment, and we're thinking how to develop it further. What are the risks? What are the risks of being, I don't know, acquired and killed by another big company? Or what are the risks if, for instance, some big company launches a similar product, and because they have bigger resources, they will just kill you, etc. And so at the moment, we are thinking a lot about that, how to make sure that how to build, this this foundation to be stronger, so that if someone wants to consume us, make sure I don't steal the idea or take the idea and develop even in a better way or something. So we're thinking how to
create a moat, right? That's typically the term used. That investors like to see, isn't it? How do you create a moat around your product? But it's interesting because also while I think that's a good thing to be thinking about, just throwing out my thoughts for whatever they're worth. I think it's also a dangerous thing to get too worried about, because any business can be replicated, right? And or stolen or swallowed up. Tomorrow someone could look at pretty much any business. There are a few out there that obviously are a little bit untouchable, but with the right money and resources they could replicate it. I think the key difference and the key differentiator goes back to what we were just talking about, which is you, right? It's the people behind the business that make it what it is. So it's go. I spoke with someone recently actually who had, very interestingly, one of my clients actually, who very interestingly, they had a competitor try and book a call with them and pretend that they were interested, whatever, just to try and steal ideas. But they were horrible people, and it was really evident that they were really rude and very, whatever, and trying to do tricks and stuff. And it was just okay, well, let them do whatever because they were worried about it, they're going to steal our idea and they've got investment we haven't. I was let them, because they will fail, because they're doing shady techniques. They're clearly not very nice people. They're not going to get very far. Don't worry about it, because you're nice, you're good people. And I strongly believe that, the good people win, so, and then, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, is what I'm saying. Just enjoy the ride.
Good idea. I'm feeling like it's part of a podcast and part of an advisory session, because I hit a lot of things back. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's just a chat, right? And so occasionally I'll think of something and I'll just blurt it out. I mean, that's kind of that's what I do for a living, I guess. And then it's funny because my clients tell me that a lot of our advisory sessions are part advisory session, part therapy. So, which I think is what a good advisor should be: part therapist and good advisors.
Makes sense, of course. We need it. We need some therapy sessions.
we all do. We all do. Especially in startups. Jesus.
Oh yeah, so many things, so many change.
Well, and also I think founders are all just a bit mad, which is why I like speaking to founders, because you've got to be a bit mad to do what we do, right? So.
At least risky.
Yeah. So you're focusing on this full time now, right? Is this your thing, or you? Okay. So how do you keep the lights on? You don't feel like you have to share this information, but again, because a lot of the listeners are entrepreneurs and founders, I think they're curious. How can you? Because that's the dream, right? To quit the day job, focus on the startup. So if you don't mind sharing, it'd be interesting to know.
Well, of course, it's not exactly 100%. I quit the job. Well, I quit the job not because of a startup. I left the job, and then I was looking for another, and then I started the startup. So it wasn't I quit. And I'm a mother, so I have to spend some time on it. So it's probably I would be able to have a job and also do the startup at this point at least, because it's not, the pace is not that big. Of course, when we get the money, there will be a lot bigger pace, because we will have people that do the job. For instance, at the moment, when you have the product live, it's not enough just to put it onto the App Store. Someone needs to discover it. So what you need to do, you need to speak to the users by Instagram, by TikTok, by various methods. You have to speak to retailers to deliver them the idea, and it's a lot of work.
If you are enjoying this episode, please subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments.
So we're doing it, but with myself and our team. So we do it with our own hands, and of course, hopefully, when we get the money, we will have more teams dedicated to some areas, at least, like user acquisition, important part. Someone needs to work on it, work more. Like we will be also someone needed to create the content, to put it out there, to create the branding. So all these things. At this time, it's us. Like tomorrow, we're having a photo shoot with myself, with a friend who she's a model and she's okay to be part of it. So we are like doing creatives for our user acquisition process, which is to develop our brand, to make a sort of a community around our platform, which is one of the things we think very important to be able to be stronger in the market in case someone wants to replicate and do something similar. Yeah. So that's what we do. We develop, like like me personally, I'm part of the development to make sure, like our developer and designer, they are very strong product people, and they can do everything themselves. But of course, because I'm holding the vision further, I need to make sure that we're going the right path. And some decisions might make us turn the other direction. So so not to to stand in front of them and watching whether they're doing the right thing. I'm just keeping an eye on things that are strategically important to our development movement. So we're going the right pace. And what I'm also doing, I'm speaking to retailers. I'm going to exhibitions and speaking to the retailers, asking them questions, what they're struggling with, how they look at the idea. Most of people say, yes, this is interesting. And we believe that we are like hitting the right point with making the platform where they will be the bosses, where they will be managing everything themselves, their brand, where they will be it's very I just thought about that. When you use any platform, even Google Shopping, etc., you as a user, you as a customer, whenever you want to buy something and use it, you remember, like, okay, next time I want to shop, I go to Google, and I like put myself completely dependent on the algorithms. So yes, there will be a suggestion. I will choose out of what I've been offered, and that is my decision. And we're thinking it would, and when I'm saying to the retailers that we're trying to make sure that you have more ownership, and when people, yes, they come to Stora, but they know how to find you exactly. They can like it. And so I'm validating whether I'm going the right direction with retailers at the moment. And I have plans, and I'm starting now to build a community of retailers as well. We will be building the wait list from the retailers who will be happy to join the platform as soon as it is launched, for them to integrate, for them to make an account for themselves, etc. So yeah, basically, when you said what else new you're doing, I'm doing sales, lots of sales, speaking to retailers, thinking about that,
building the pipeline up, right, ready for when things move forward.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough that our team is very, they're independent, and they can take a lot and a responsibility to develop the right product. So I don't have to drive them and say, hey, let's do it. We need to do this. They take initiative, and they think, okay, we need to make a pin now, because I personally have lots of products in my list, and I already need a pin for a certain product. Okay, we develop a pin. It seems a nice use case. So just things like that. And that gives me much more time to do sales, which is very important part as well. So
definitely, especially in preparation for fundraising, which is going to take a lot of time and is essentially a sales activity. So when is do you have a sense of when you might start doing the fundraising, or is it really the case of just seeing how things go over the next couple of months?
Well, we're starting now.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, as I said, we have an advisor who's looking at the situation in the market, whether there is much potential to raise now, or maybe we should wait a few months, etc. Well, she says now is a nice time. And as we launch the MVP, as we're getting the information about our traction, we are reaching out again. So we started.
Okay, interesting, because that's definitely not the approach a lot of people are taking right now, given the state of the market. But so what's the reason for that? Just to what was the reasons that now is considered to be a good time for fundraising?
As she tells us, well, the second half of the year is normally, which seems like common truth, when you have the time frame, which is the financial year or calendar year, whatever it is, you're more cautious at the beginning, and you're more decisive at the end. So that is one of the reasons. And she also says that there's been some news. She's seen quite a lot of news that some funds are getting more funds for investment, and she sees like there is some movement in the market. So, but again, I'm just telling you the secret that she's given me.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that and I'll look into it, because that's interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I don't track this. I don't keep an eye on the investment market. I'm very happy to have her do that for me. Otherwise, I will just break it. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's too many things to balance otherwise. But
especially when they're new things.
Right, exactly. But I mean, look, I don't think it can ever hurt to do it, whether right time or not. I'll be completely honest. I don't think it's the right time to be investing right now, to be seeking investment right now, because I think the market is in a complete mess. But having said, but unless you're very, very ready, right? Unless you've got a really, really compelling case. But having said that, like, it doesn't hurt to do that. And if you feel that you're ready to do it, then do it. Because of, like you said at the beginning, when you first went out to raise, you learn a lot. So even if it doesn't result in investment, and as long as the company isn't reliant on investment to survive for the next 3 to 6 months, then go for it. Because if, why not? There's can be a hell of a lot that can be learned from it. You can make some valuable connections and, move on to the next stages. So why the hell not, right? And again, if you've got someone helping with you with it, which means it's not going to completely take away your attention, even better. Because if a founder come to me and said they were doing what you're suggesting, but that was their focus, I'd be like, don't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just like, no way, because you can't track the launch of your product, you can't build your community, you can't track your the further development, gain feedback, and speak with potential partners in the businesses and brands, and do fundraising. Oh, and be a mother. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, just choose a few, And you mentioned that you became a mother recently. Is that right?
Yes, she's 4 years old. She's turning 5 soon. In 2 weeks, we'll have a birthday party. So I'm preparing for the birthday party.
Yeah, but that's the most important thing out of everything, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, it's recently, and it seems that it's been all my life. So it's always...
it's weird, isn't it? How it feels that same way. And 5 is kind of a weirdly big one, isn't it? I don't know why, but it's because it's not like it's an even number or anything, but just, I don't know, because it's half of 10. I don't know. It just feels like a big one for some reason, doesn't it?
I think it's because at some point she just stopped talking to you as a big person.
Yeah, and then they never shut up.
That's the other thing. It's a different story.
I've got one that's 8 and one that's 9 months, and the 8-year-old, the second he learned to talk, he hasn't stopped.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
literally.
it's good when a person can talk. Well, he might be a podcast host or something.
Well, I was going to say, I've said to my wife before, like, I don't know where he gets it from, and she looks at me like, really? She was, I love to talk too, but the thing that worries me about my son talking so much is that he doesn't listen enough. And obviously, conversation, the importance, a good conversationalist is able to actively listen. And I like to think I'm fairly good at that. So, that's what I'm trying to teach him now. It's like, great that you can talk, and it's great you've got a lot to say, but try listening a bit more, buddy.
Yeah, this reminds me that my sister sometimes, her daughter is 12 now, so she's becoming a teenager, and she sometimes sees how she speaks to her friends and what they're talking. She's, oh my God, when I was a child, I wasn't saying that. This is not right. I said, Natasha, just wait. She will grow up. She's a child. Just remember yourself. You were saying crazy things when you're small. You
exactly. That's
no
very
idea.
true.
Yeah, so they have a different world. Yeah.
And a much more complicated world too. Like, I remember speaking to a friend of my mother's a few years back, and she was really struggling with her teenage daughter. And we were around my mother, so we were relaxing, having coffee or whatever. And my mother's French, and so is a friend, very French. So, drinking coffee and being very French, as you are. And she was talking about the difficulties. And I said, well, have you considered about, the fact that you're both living in different times, right? Like, the stress of being a teenager now is completely different to the stress of being a teenager when we were teenagers. Like, it is an entirely different world. And, it's no wonder we see a rise in mental health issues and this, that, and the other. It's like, it's incredibly different. And it's like, have you tried to sort of go down to that world and understand it? And it's like, well, not really. So, well, then that's the problem. Because if you're just sort of at the top judging it, going, oh, social media is bad, and, this is bad. And it's like, well, okay, but have you tried to understand why they like this stuff? Because otherwise your opinion is kind of invalid. If you're not even trying to understand it. Because that's when a teenager says, you don't understand me, mum. Because they're right. You don't.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And you're not even trying. So don't expect to tell them what, you can tell them what to do when you don't even know how the world works anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your directions are now meaningless, So I'm quite cognizant of that, or I try to be.
Yes.
So.
And also I'm thinking what's important is to look at how their friends and, I don't know, classmates, group mates react to the child. That's an important marker. If you see that he's well accepted and they listen to him, and he might be a leader even in the group, that means he does something right in his own world, in his little world. Yeah, we cannot judge what's... If I tell my child how to speak to his friends, she will be, I don't know, she will have no success, because I'm an adult. I have an absolutely different, even type of thinking. I have other values. I won't be popular among children of 5 years old, or 8 or 12.
Exactly. And it's important that they're likable. Like that's, because if that's one of the main important traits I think to have in life. You've got to be able to make friends and professionally maintain relationships and personal relationships. And
absolutely. Yeah, they'll get there when they're grown.
They will. I mean, but that is part of my motivation sometimes, of telling my son to just look, just talk a little bit less, buddy. Like sometimes, like because it is a bit much. Like, and it's like everything that's going on here is coming out of there, and it's like, all right. Just that's enough, because the friends aren't going to want to listen to all this, buddy. And I know, because like you said, I observe it, and I can see sometimes his friends sort of sitting there just like listening to him, and I've even seen some of them just say, Archie, can you shut up? I've literally seen them say that and heard them say that. So there you go. Yeah, but
the joke that that's why you have such big headphones.
That is why I have such big headphones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it helps me drown it out, especially over the summer holidays when he was home all the time. Jesus Christ.
Oh
yeah. You definitely knew he was here. You can hear him talk. But no. But all jokes aside, obviously he's a wonderful boy, and he has a lot of interesting things to say as well. So it's not all bad. But yeah. So your first child, then, I take it. Yeah.
Yes. First and only.
First and only. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and how are you finding it? Because I'm assuming you're working from home. So how are you finding the balance of all of that? Because if I know my experience, like I just said, especially during the summer holidays, it was a bit tricky. But how are you finding it?
It's pretty good, because my husband helps me a lot. We are finding balance with him very well. He gives me time to work. I give him time to work. Also, she goes to sleep no later than 9, so we have 9 time.
Right.
Work. Well, what can you do? And I like this balance, frankly. I don't want to lose it. Sometimes I need to go to the center of London on my own, with my headphones, with my music, with my thoughts for an hour or two, I don't know, to do shopping, do something.
Yeah,
Yes.
decompress a little bit.
Yes, you need that, because otherwise you're just staying home all the time and it's pressing. And this is some refreshing trips. I don't know, once in 2 weeks is nice.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think it is very good that I have such an opportunity to work and be with my child so much time. It's a blessing, frankly.
You must have, I take it, because it's 2023 now, so I'm assuming that sorry, is it a boy or a girl?
Girl.
So I'm assuming she was born around the pandemic, right?
Before.
Just before, right? Okay.
Just before the pandemic, yes. And I don't remember when pandemic started in terms of when I started to work, but maybe at that time I didn't realize that pandemic would actually change the way people treat remote working.
Yeah.
Didn't know it will change it after it is done. At that point, when I was deciding that I need to switch to IT, is because when you work on site all the time, when you work in the office all the time, you just simply lose 2 hours a day that can be given to your child, because it's one way to work an hour. I don't know. No matter how close or far you live, you still have to dress up or make makeup, etc. So that was the basis for me to make a decision. But I see that other industries are okay with remote working now, which is very good. But I'm here already. It's too late to come back.
Yeah, it's but you're right. It's a wonderful opportunity to spend time with the kids.
Of course.
Yeah. So tell me a bit more about the brands that you're speaking with. Then what sort of who are you talking with now? Like, and I'm not saying necessarily name any names, but are you going straight for the big boys in the business, or you sort of building up a bit of a reputation? Like, what's your strategy there?
Yeah, big boys won't listen to me. That's why I realize it's not, even if I wanted to, I don't mind speaking to big boys, but they're not speaking to me yet. So I realized that we need to start with the small, active brands. That they have this active position of developing, spreading themselves in the market. I believe that they will be the most eager part of the market, and that's what I see from talking to them. So we will start with small ones. And the bigger we become, the bigger brands we will be able to reach out to approach. And
the community approach must be a really important part of this strategy, right? Because if it gives you a bit of weight behind it. Do you find yourself, aren't you a bit concerned that maybe you're going to end up sort of almost like in a position of community manager more than anything else, though, with that approach?
I don't mind if you talk about the future.
Yeah.
As I told you, I never, aspired to be the CEO, which I am now, which is fine, by the way. There are lots of things you have to think and are very interesting and important. And I see I have skills to apply in them. For instance, I realized that being a CEO in the company, you have to think about the environment in the company, the policies, how people will talk to each other, work, all these things, and they're very important, interesting as well. So I can't say that in 5 years I won't be holding to my position and say, and now I will not leave my child. This is my child and I want it exactly as I think. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe in 5 years, if I realize that community building is something I am excelling better, and there will be another person who will be a better CEO, why not? So we'll see. At least what I realized that I started enjoying sales. This is interesting. I could never do sales. I thought I'm too shy for doing sales. I'm not, I can't talk just to talk. It's difficult for me. I need to be sure about what I'm talking about. And now, maybe because I know it all the way through, or believe in it all the way through, I'm not even shy when I approach people. I'm okay when somebody says, I'm sorry, I don't have time, maybe later, or I don't believe in shopping platforms or anything. It doesn't hurt me, especially because not everyone says that. Many people say, oh, nice, there's my number, there's my email me. It gives strength, it gives energy, and so I realized sales are fun. It can be fun, and
Look, at the risk
a
of
great discovery for me.
yeah, well, it's interesting you say it, because at the risk of sounding like a broken record, which I also have said many, many times on this podcast to my listeners, I talk a lot about on record of saying about how I don't think, because my background's in sales and marketing, right? You know, as an individual contributor, running sales teams and marketing teams, like that's what I built my career on, building, you know, teams that have gone on to scale a company and you know, go out for exits and all that sort of thing. And I'm on record of saying time and time again, sales, there isn't some magical formula to sales.
Of course.
It's not this magical thing that people want it to sound like, that, you know, on LinkedIn or in books and stuff. Yes, you can get frameworks and you can read about it, and there are specialists. I was one of those specialists, right? Sales training, this, that, and the other. And then I came to the realization, it's all bullshit. Sales is just about the art of communication. That's all it is. That's all it comes down to. So everyone is a salesperson to a degree. You go to a job interview, you're selling yourself. You want to make friends in a room, you're selling yourself. You want to be at a dinner party and you want to sound like you're intelligent and, you know, everyone to respect you and think you're great, you're selling yourself. You know, everything is sales to a degree, because it's just about communicating vision or an idea. That's all it is. And getting other people to agree or disagree with that vision in one way or another. And either agreeing with you on it as a principle, or agreeing with you that they want to come with you on that journey, give you their money, like whatever it might be, time, support, that's all it is. So it's great to hear that you've said that, because I think there are so many founders out there without that background that are paralyzed. And I know this from the pro bono sessions I do, paralyzed by not even knowing where to start. Because they know, I need to go out and speak to people and ask their opinions or ask them for money. I can't do that. That's not my skill. I need to hire a salesperson. Don't hire a salesperson.
I agree.
I can tell you as an ex-salesperson, don't hire us. We're useless. You're the best salesperson because you have it all in your head. Just tell them. And, you know, and like you said, that you do get rejections, but you also get positive responses, right? And that feeds you to keep doing it.
You know? Absolutely.
How did you handle the first rejections? I imagine that might have been a bit tough initially, but do you feel like you handled them fairly well? Or?
I think what was tough was my first approach, just the first one. I was at an exhibition for retailers,
right?
And I was just, okay, I'm nervous, so this is the first time I'm doing it. So I decided that I will walk down the aisle 2 times. Just to look at them, okay, to look at them, look at the people, what they're doing, just to see Anastasia. So maybe it took me 30 minutes just to go around, just to see. And I think at the end, it kind of started, you know, being annoying that I'm just walking doing nothing.
Right.
and it got me to the next step. So I just started talking. And the rejections, I remember one rejection that was polite. I can't say that something extraordinary or something. I was just, they just said, well, I don't believe in shopping platforms. I just don't like them. And we spoke, and it turned out she said that she created one time years ago and sold it to someone, and it got closed or something. I cannot say if it's exactly the situation, but that's pretty much, I think, I understood from our conversation, and it still was nice. And in the end, I got her email address, because she's okay, email me, just that's fine. And it is okay, you know, it's like, as you said, job interview, etc. Even in job interviews, you can be fully prepared, you can be the best employee in the world, but it must be a connection. There can be connection, it can be no connection. It can just happen and not happen.
Yeah, you're still selling a vision, and the vision is, imagine me in this role and how great I'll be. Like, that's what you're selling, right?
Yes, but what about personal factor? You sometimes can just not match the person. They like that type of people and you're not. Even if you're selling, you can't sell the things you're not. Otherwise, you come to the company and you will become yourself back,
Mm.
and there will be a lot of trouble. So, and of course, you can't imagine every single role to every single new company you have
Right.
through an interview.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, you have to choose. You have to stick with who you are, make yourself as good as possible, and that's it. Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny. You just reminded me of a company I worked in a few years back, where as a consultant, when I was helping them to try and increase revenue, they had a lot of leads coming in, and they were only converting a very small amount. And so I asked them, right, okay, well, tell me what happens to the leads that don't work well, whatever. So yeah, sort of out of every 10 leads we'll call them, and about 8 of them would just say no, thank you, not interested, and we'll just move on to the next ones. I'm like, so what? That's like, that's very low conversion, and these are generally hot leads. These are inbound. So I was like, okay, so well then, who calls them after? Oh, no one. So well then that's what will change. So I said, what should happen is that any time you're told not interested or no thank you, pass it to the next person and let them do it. Because of the same reason you pointed out, it could just be a mismatch of personality, and they increased like double within a month because of already. And then we did other things obviously to increase that further, but immediately it just doubled because of the fact a different person with a different approach was on the phone, just a bit of a better match. They got on with them a bit better, and then suddenly it progressed the deal further. You just never know, right? Personality plays a big part of it.
It does. You can't imagine and pretend it doesn't exist. It does.
Yeah, and you can't be all things to all people, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You are you, and that's the way it is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's interesting though that you went on that journey, and like my main takeaway from that is just that you kind of put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to get over it, right?
Absolutely, all the time. Yesterday we had this launch, and as I said, I'm not very much open in social media. Yes, I have my Instagram account. I have a few photos that, I don't know, look very good to me, so I put them there.
Right.
But I'm not like, there's my lunch, there's me, there's my birthday, congratulate me. So I'm not open to this kind of things. And yesterday I realized, well, I have a huge event in my life, so I decided just to share. I have some friends, 200 and something. So I just decided to make a story, say, hey friends, here's the news from me. I would be very happy if you download, test, and let me know what you think. And that was such a stressful, out of the whole thing of this launch, that was the most stressful thing.
Oh, really?
And I realized that, yeah, it's because the attention is paid exactly to my personality, and that is my biggest thing to grow, room to grow is to accept the attention to my personality, which is the most difficult thing for me. And at the same time, yesterday it was very liberating. I realized that I'm making the steps, and I have to make the steps. I can't be successful unless I break all these things that used to be holding me from this. So this is interesting. At the same time, you're always challenging. Is it too much? Whether you're still with your own true to yourself, whether you're still true to yourself, not changing yourself entirely, so that 2 years to the 2 years from this point, you will be like, oh my God, where I am. I need the psychotherapy. Let's get back to myself, etc. So you need to be very careful, and at the same time, you need to understand that you are no longer what you are, what you used to be. Otherwise, you will not be what you want to be. This is interesting.
It is interesting because it's a fine balance. You want to improve as an individual, but you don't want to lose yourself. But I don't think as long as the ambition is improvement, then I don't think that's ever possible to lose yourself.
Probably, yeah.
Because it will always, that's the goal. It's improvement. It's not the case. It's not the case of changing who you are entirely. I think it's if you would sit down and say, I don't like my personality, I want to become someone else, that's very dangerous, and that's completely different. But if it's just I need to achieve these things, and in order to achieve them, I need to improve in these areas, I think that's just self-reflection, and that's quite healthy. That's quite a mature way of approaching things.
At the same time, when you're doing that, you may be be lost in the moment, and be someone you don't want to be. For instance, if you have a great success and you're happy about it, you can be too happy to be, I don't know, a little bit less I don't know, neglecting people's attention, be
Right.
less the person you are. So yeah, you always have to be with this balance.
But
Or,
also, you know, I think that it's acceptable to have those occasions, right, where you are, you know, for a brief moment of period, like you said, like in that example, you're very happy, and so for a short period, a burst of time, you are a little bit more self-absorbed and self-congratulatory.
yeah,
As long as you come back to reality a little bit, that's fine. But it's okay to, I think, have these little bursts of you know, change of self
yes,
and becoming someone else for a brief period, because the reality is the world and life demands us to be different individuals at some moments, especially pivotal moments in our life, you know,
yeah,
especially look at, and you know, traumatic events in people's lives, you know, or dangerous events in people's lives. Quite often they do very much have to switch into an entirely different person they would never become ordinarily in order to survive them. I think the same could be said for extraordinarily positive moments in our lives too, where you may become maybe slightly, you know, more self-indulged, or, you know, whatever, just a moment, for a moment. But the important part is coming back to that, you know,
yes,
like you said.
absolutely,
But you
absolutely.
can embrace it, is what my point. Like, I don't think,
Exactly.
you know, there's nothing
Embracing.
wrong with embracing it and just being
Yeah,
like, fuck it, I'm gonna, you know what, I deserve to this. I'm gonna enjoy this. Let's go out
yeah.
and celebrate me for a bit. What's
That,
wrong with that? Like, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think.
you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. How can you grow without having this change of growing into the world? Yeah, as you grow into the world, and you need more space in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
I
you know, as long as you're happy, and the
yeah,
people around you are happy, and you're not hurting anyone. If you look back in 10 years and go, I am entirely different from the person I was back then, that isn't necessarily anything to mourn or be concerned with, because as long as those attributes are true about your life, and no one's being hurt, and you know, all those sort of things, as long as you're still a good person, as long as, you know, those two good people might be very different from each other, but that's just growth,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
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 What is it about posting on social media that sort of worries you so much?
Well, it's not about worrying.
Yeah.
It's
Is it the vulnerability, perhaps, or the maybe being judged, or things like that? Or...
with judging, it's not about judging. It's about, you know, the thing that the first thought that hits you is, what if you fail and you've told everybody?
Right.
But frankly, I overcame this very, very quickly. It just, you know, everybody says that, and it's absolutely true. Like, if you fail, you fail. And frankly, it doesn't matter whether people know or whether people don't, especially that you will go around and still tell the people you speak to. You can't just say, what have you been doing these 2 years? Oh, I don't know. Nothing. just been a mother. You can't say like that. You know, you'll be saying, I had a startup, it failed. Sorry. So there's no point in hiding this. And this vulnerability, it's just, I think it's my being a little bit more just personality. And I haven't, like, I think these are the things which need an advisory from, you know, these people who understand more in sociology or therapy, etc., psychology,
That's my
understanding
background.
people.
We should talk after this. That's my background. I studied sociology.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a huge part of the advisory work I do, the social science between building teams and managing yourself and all that. But anyway, yeah.
You know,
That's why I'm asking these questions. That's why I'm curious. I want to get in there.
You know, every minute I'm becoming more and more sorry that I haven't asked you for an advisory session. I remember you told me that I could.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll sort one out. Don't worry.
No. You sold yourself to me entirely, you know. So I think it's just it's how I'm used to live. I never was demanding too much attention to myself. I like to be a team player. I don't want to be, you know, the one that's head of everything and the main face. So,
lead from the back kind of thing, right? Rather than lead from the front. Yeah. Yes,
I like to, you know, stand a little back and help people do what is needed to do. I think so. That is my role. And you can't be in that role and be the CEO. That's the thing. And that is my personal struggle I'm overcoming at the moment. So
I'm not sure if I agree with that, actually. I think you can be in that role and be the CEO, actually. And I can explain why I think that. So from my own experiences, running a few businesses and all that, I struggled with the exact same thing you're talking about for many years. And have become more and more, I think we all do to a degree, and become more and more confident with it over time. And the reason why is someone's pointed out to me a long time ago. They said, in reality, Greg, no one really gives a fuck about you. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was just trying to shock me. It was
about
like,
me?
the point, no, to me, it was like,
I'm kidding. I'm just adding to you.
Right. And I was like, what? Like, he's like, look, you're really concerned about what to post. You're spending all this time overthinking, like, what do I post? What if it's like, I'm going to come across like an arsehole, or like I know everything, or this, that, and the other. He's like, you've got to bear in mind, people are scrolling like this. And then they read it and they go, oh, that's interesting. Like, and move on. It's not that big a deal. Like, just put something out there and see what happens. Like, it was just this case of just getting too much in my own head. And overthinking it, when in reality, I was thinking, he asked me outright, he's like, how do you interact with content online? And I was thinking about it. It's like, do you judge that person for the content? It's like, not really, unless they put something really outrageous or controversial out there, not really. I'm like, right. So that's how people are going to view your content. So don't overthink it, just put it out there.
A friendly reminder to share this episode with your network, subscribe for more, and join the conversation in the comments. It really helps us out. Thank you. And
what I realized as well after with some other time was that the content I'm putting out there wasn't really about me anyway. It was about the problem I'm trying to solve. It was about content that was educational or entertaining or useful. So actually, the focus wasn't on me. It was either on the problem or the solution. That's what I was more interested in talking about. And then a whole other worry came into my mind, which was, well, am I getting it right? Am I giving bad information and so on? But again, it's just like, well, just start small and work your way up. So I don't know, maybe there's some useful invite. And obviously I'm paraphrasing from years ago, so I might have completely fucked up that whole, thing. But, I think there's some useful information in there, which is just, I don't think people care as much about what we say as we do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes and no. I've heard this phrase many times.
Yeah.
But I think there's always, what you said, unless someone posts something outrageous. That's the thing.
No, but I'm saying, like, saying something really racist or like misogynistic or something like that, like extreme. That's what I mean by outrageous. But like just saying, like sharing an opinion on, like, I think in the B2B space in startups, this and this.
Yeah.
That's your opinion. People are either going to disagree with it or not. Like it's not the end of the world. Like,
That's okay. Yeah, of course. The LinkedIn is such a social media when you actually share to people you don't really know all the time, especially when you have followers. They're always business people. There is always a topic people are interested in. While on more personal social media like Facebook or Instagram, there are all types of interests on that platform. And if you start bombarding them with business talks, they said, I follow you because we went to school together. I don't want to know about business. It's not interesting to me. So that's why you have to keep the balance. So that is probably why I put my yesterday's link to App Store with a request, like, dear friends, it would be very nice if you do that for me. This is just this is a request. Could you give me a favor? Something like that. Because I realize they're not my followers. They don't look at me as a professional. And you have to always keep that in mind. Unless your Instagram is becoming a business one, of course you will lose half of your friends who came to you for other reasons. You will have another audience, a bigger audience who follow you because they want to read your business advice, etc. So keeping that in mind is very important. That's
very true. And
that's what I wanted to say.
No, but that's true. And for clarity, I was talking primarily about my LinkedIn profile.
Oh, yeah.
I don't post on my other platforms really. I don't
of course.
use Facebook or Instagram or anything these days because I just find it fucking boring.
Really? I love
Yeah.
Instagram. You know, every day.
I used to, but I've lost. I've got into TikTok a lot more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. You know?
No.
It just haven't started for me. I once downloaded it, and it was so, you know, violent with all those videos on me. So I was just okay. Just back to Instagram. You know, it's your photos. They don't shout at you. Like that.
That's true.
However,
it is very much, you know, give me your attention. It's it's a bit much. Yeah.
However, you know, they now have videos. They're probably going a little bit TikToky. And probably they spotted that I watch those dog videos. I don't know, when they're nice doggy, I don't know, puppy just born, etc. And then, how nice. So today I went to the search page where all the recommendations, and I see they're all puppies and dogs. Oh my god, what
you gotta love these algorithms. Yeah, you can just like one post. I get it with TikTok where I'll look at one post of like a guy building something, and now my entire feed is just construction and building, and I'm just like, fuck's sake. There's like a good meme that goes around on social media of like what women think their man is looking at on social media, and it's like, you know, a sexy woman and like, you know, in a bikini and all that, and then it's like what they're actually looking at, and it's just some guy sawing something, and we're there taking notes like, oh right, that's how you do it. Okay.
This is nice. One of my favorite Instagram account, there's a lady, she has lots of followers, and she is just making space in house more efficient by folding t-shirts. I don't know. It's just you relax while you watch that.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, how there are some things that we as humans just find like riveting. And then meanwhile there's these content creators spending millions on, you know, these over the top videos and stuff, and you know, us boomers and you know, parents are just, wow, they folded that shirt really nicely. How do you do that?
But that is a sublimation, you know. I was thinking about podcasts, and I realized that every day I either listen to a podcast or an interview in my headphone while doing something.
Do you listen to Founders Unplugged?
2.
Oh, really? Oh, which ones have you listened to?
One of them, I don't think. Don't ask, because I have a bad memory. I have a bad memory, and the other one is Vasily.
Vasily, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember his surname.
I don't remember his surname, and he's a friend of mine. So don't worry about it.
That's why he's there. Okay, but yeah, so I watched.
Okay, well, thank you for your support. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off. Please continue.
I was actually getting prepared for my interview. That's one of the reasons. But actually, it was quite interesting, and I realized that's what how I finished your podcast. You know, I started with watching to understand what it is, how you should look, what's going to expect me there on my podcast. And I finished it by just putting a headphone in my ear and doing stuff. And I just thought, why would do that? So I have a theory. Is just, I don't know, a while ago, it was much easier to access your family. We lived, I don't know, closer to mom, to your mother, to your father, to your grandmother, to your sister, etc. And I don't know, after school, you just sit in the kitchen. Your mom would, I don't know, chop potatoes and do stuff. And you just sit and you talk to her without doing anything, presenting, or she tells you something. And this is the kind of relax we're liking at the moment. Because when we chat, I'm trying my best to chat with you now because it's the first time I'm being recorded and I'm going to be put online. So this is a big job. And what about being relaxed? So these podcasts, at least to me, they help me relax. I can do things and just listen to this chat of people, sometimes coming up to interesting ideas. So yeah, this digital world really plays replaces lots of things we used to do.
Yeah, and I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head. I have I think a lot of people agree with that theory and have the same theory, which is we've lost a lot of them because of my the ability to move around the world and there's so many factors. You can even put it down to the lack of like you pointed out about church, more and more people are atheists. A lot of community was in churches. People aren't as community driven in where they live because of we don't have as many little towns. People live in cities. Like there's so many factors. People work from home. Like there's so many. And yeah, like I always say, I'm on record as saying a lot of times as well, the art of conversation is dying because people are used to now just messaging or emailing or having very brief conversations on the phone, things like that because of distance and whatever else. Whereas actually just taking the time to sit down and have a conversation is rare. And you can tell that people they're out of practice. Like, in having a conversation, especially when it comes to disagreements. People are terrible at disagreeing with each other. Like, I was raised in a house where we would always have at least 4-5 foreign exchange students. We were very lucky. I was brought up, in quite a big house before my mum and dad got divorced. They did quite well for themselves. And we lived in Oxford, and the School of English there is huge. And my mother was a teacher and so on. So we had always foreign exchange students, always changing every term, living with us. So at the dinner table, conversation, 2, 3, 4 hours, eating, talking. And I value conversation and disagreement enormously, but it's a dying thing. Now, when people disagree, they storm out the room.
Oh, yeah.
They throw things. They want to kill you. It's like, fucking hell. Like, there used to be a time where you could just discuss things, and that's one of the driving forces behind this podcast. And I hope that, what did you think of the podcast when you listened to it? Was it kind of what you expected, or did you have a different?
Because we talked to you beforehand,
right,
and you explained to me that you don't want to know much about me before we actually meet. Just to be
I like it to be an exploration.
So exploration is going on, and I was listening to what you've been talking to Vasily, and it's pretty much at the moment what it was. I mean, it just goes somewhere, it just flows
sometimes. I try. Well, like I said to you, I try and keep it on track somewhat. But
of course. Otherwise, we would probably be silent. Like, okay.
Well, yeah, exactly. But more importantly, like you said, not everyone's entirely comfortable doing this, and I think it's my job as the host to say, hey, to sort of like forget about the fact that it's being recorded. It doesn't matter. Like, just imagine we're sat across the room across the table from each other having a coffee. Like that's the point of it, and I think that's what people want to hear, for the reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Because of, like, while interviews are kind of interesting sometimes of like big celebrities or whatever, I actually find that same celebrity on a podcast that's more like this far more interesting, because then you actually feel like you're in the room, like you said, and you're eavesdropping, you're listening, you're part of it. When it's an interview, it's very artificial. So while it's important to ask questions, it's not like, okay, well, question number 2, it's got to be a bit more organic, I feel like.
It's just a different type of contact. Frankly, I was just thinking, why podcast and why does it free flowing? I told you I like to think inside of myself. And yes, when you listen to an interview, it is a dense type of information. You're just getting answers. It's just thrown on you, smart ideas, etc. This is one thing, and this is the other thing. It's about relax. It's not about you don't even have to listen to the podcast every single second. You will and turn off and turn on again, and it will be still there, and someone will catch your attention, things like that. So at least that's how it works for me. And it kind of got me to understanding why podcasts are becoming more and more popular these days.
Yeah, I think you've touched on something very important there. It's interesting as well, because I don't think I've ever had anyone on yet that I've disagreed with about many things. And I kind of want to have someone on that says something like ridiculous that I want to disagree with, but like that's not happened yet. But I feel like that could be interesting, for people to hear, because of it's important to show people and educate people in the world how to do that amicably, with respect, and try and find some mutual ground, because I don't think we're exposed to that enough, especially on platforms like LinkedIn, where everyone just agrees with each other.
Oh, yes. And then you go to Twitter and everybody
hates each other.
Nobody agrees. Hates each other.
Yeah. You could just say like the sky is blue. No, it isn't. The sky isn't real. It's like, oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah, the sky isn't real. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you literally get that with everything, right, on Twitter. Or Reddit is even worse. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, But no, I'm glad. But thank you for listening to the episodes before. I appreciate it, and I'm assuming you're going to continue to listen to the episodes, right? You know, from now on, it's going to be your new favorite show.
And this is not because I'm kind or good or you ask me, but that is because you get hooked to things. You listen once, then another time, then another time. So,
it's because of my soothing, sultry voice as well. That's a very important aspect of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying, to have a microphone, to have a pretty close level of voice. But
you know what? It's really good. It's really good quality audio, and I'm glad you did that. And you're the first person to use one of those. I actually have one here, but I don't ever use it. But I bought it. It's got the thing for outdoors and everything that can come off.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I don't really ever use them. I bought them thinking I would need them, and there we go. But yeah, you're the first person to come. Did you buy that especially for this?
Frankly, no.
Okay.
but I would. I was actually thinking about the lighting thing. It's because it's nice. I like things like put beautifully to once I saw this meme like look good, feel good.
Right. Yeah.
That's about everything. If you get dressed, wash your hair, and you feel okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons. That's how I or for instance, a few days ago, and not a few days, 2 weeks ago, we went to this festival to Bristol to listen to Aphex Twin, and before that, we went to listen to Aphex Twin on Field Festival here in London. Okay,
right.
And we didn't prepare. We just got dressed and went for it. And okay, I made the makeup, but still, and it was okay. But I realized that if you create an image, you make So what I did for the second time, I went and bought a silver dress and had a huge makeup, and so I made it myself beautiful for the event, and I felt good. It wasn't very perfect as an event for me because we took our daughter with us, so it wasn't like I had so much fun all the time. I had to take care of my child, but lots of people came up to me saying, "Oh, you look good," and you're like, "Oh yes, festival." So you have to cheer yourself up with these things.
Yeah, and make a bit of an event out of it, right?
Absolutely.
A bit of an occasion.
There's no Christmas if you don't prepare for it.
Right.
No feeling of Christmas.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Aphex Twin, I didn't realize they were still touring and still playing live.
This is the first year.
Yeah,
he hasn't been touring for 6 years maybe, and this year he started again.
Wow.
Still perfect. Still the
same. New material?
Well, new material, yes.
Yeah.
And the same type of video with his smiles and
that weird
faces.
Yeah, I remember that.
On everything. So the same style, new material, also good, also charging, crazy. Yeah, so cool.
So is that your kind of music then, more electronic sort of type music?
Not only. Well, Aphex Twin is more. My husband is into Aphex Twin. It's his favorite musician ever. I would say I've listened to him lots of times from MTV when you watch TV and you watch MTV.
Yeah.
So from that time, and there's lots of ambient is more for me. Like I love all his ambient pieces, and these techno ones. They're not all the time. I can't just listen to them in the house, but it's very good for a concert. They're very good for the concert. Yeah, they must
put on quite a show. Or is it just one guy? I keep saying they. Is it just one guy?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a musician, but I believe he has people he asks at least to create the visuals.
Yeah, must be
events because he has shows, on the display at least.
It's funny. I've been listening to a lot of classical music recently, and it's actually because of one of my guests on the show recently that we recorded. It won't be released for a while, but because there's quite a backlog. Daisy Harvey was on recently, and she has a classical. She played classical piano, and we started talking about that. And we got on the subject. And I was like, you know what? I should listen to more classical music because it's so relaxing.
Absolutely.
Especially when working and things like that. And so now I'm constantly playing classical music now. That's my thing at the moment.
Yeah.
She made some great recommendations for that.
Oh, good. Yeah. Today I listened to some piano music. You know this movie, Call Me by My Name? If you go to Spotify or something and and play the playlist for this. There are lots of nice pieces.
Is that a movie? Is it Call Me by My Name?
Oh yeah. It's a what do I say? It's a big movie with Timothée Chalamet.
Oh right, yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check out that soundtrack.
Yeah. At least the music. I mean, the music is nice in the movie as well.
Yeah.
And what was that? And actually, last year I started playing the piano.
Oh wow.
I never learned. I always wanted to. I never had the chance to. Just never was on my map. And last year I was like, why not? I'm 34. Maybe I should start now. And I found a teacher, and she taught me this sheet music, how to read them, etc.
Yeah.
Like this year, I'm a little bit stiff with money because there's no investment yet, and I don't work.
Yeah.
What I'm doing, I'm trying to read what I know already myself, or with my etc. But this is how I relax at the moment.
There's some great free lessons and stuff on YouTube. Have you checked those out?
Oh yeah. Lots of them, and apps. What I want to do is to investigate what kind of apps there are for that. I think there are lots of them.
Oh yeah.
Give you various ways to learn to play, but initially you really want to play well, knowing, being literate about it, because this will give you the freedom to, I don't know, to compose. Because sometimes I just sit and play, and oh wow, that sounds nice, and it just gives you right emotion. So So this is the type the thing I relax with.
A lot of people who know me will know I say this saying a lot, but I always say, aim to be shit at something before you aim to be good at something. Because too many of us think that, oh well, we need to be great. In the same way that you release an MVP. Like it's
great. It's I'm really interested in that. I don't want to just bang and to play one piece very well.
Right.
Forward. I want to know more.
You want progression, right? Yeah.
Of course.
Especially with reading music, that's a very skillful thing to be able to do as well, right?
Yeah, and it is interesting. For instance, one of the musics on that playlist on the that I just told you about, it sounded quite easy to me. When I looked at this sheet music, I realized it's not my level. I don't know all those sounds yet, and I realized it's. And then I heard the music again, and I realized, yes, it's tingling. It's a little bit, it's difficult. I'm too early for that, and I would love to be able to read that. I would love to be able to do that, because that gives you the power of to master this huge skill and skill. So probably it's because I have a passion for that. Maybe that's the signal for it. It's not because I want to be great at everything, not at all. I can even.
But that's okay too, to have that ambition. But I think just it's about baby steps, right?
Yeah, to make the best shopping platform in the world, for instance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But that's the interesting thing about classical music. Some of the most simple sounding songs. Actually, when you look at the sheet music, it's like, wow, like the crazy time signatures and all of the, it's a very interesting thing. I've seen breakdowns on it. Have you seen those YouTube videos of the pianist? There's one in particular, I can't remember his name now, where they use some sort of digital visualization of the music and it like shoots up lights and stuff. Have you seen that?
It's impossible.
It's amazing.
Is it? Did you try?
Try it. I wouldn't even know where to start. You need to order special equipment and stuff, right? Presumably for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I tried that. That's what I found myself. I have this video. I'm getting ready to these lights coming to the keyboard.
So no. I don't mean like
something different.
Yeah. No, I don't mean like play it in time with the music. I mean like it's the other way around. So he's playing and it's making like a show.
No,
have you seen that?
No.
I'll try and find some at some point and send them to you. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. That's like almost like Guitar Hero or something, like a game. No, this is something else. It he's got like the screen showing the keyboard and he's playing it, and then another screen above it, and every time he hits a note, it shoots off light.
Oh, beautiful.
So as he's playing, it creates this beautiful light show. I'll have to try and find some because I can't remember the name of the guy. But my son and I used to just watch them in amazement, and he would do like famous songs from movies and things like that, and he'd just be like, "Wow, yeah."
This is pretty much what Aphex Twin is doing. I
Right.
mean, of course, on an upgraded level. I think it's very hard to prepare what they're doing with their video show. But yes, there's music and the video show. It adds to it, and the effect is huge.
Love all that stuff. Love it. I haven't been to a festival in so long. I think the last festival we went to was Glastonbury. It was years ago. Years ago. Like it's like 7 years ago now. We've got to go back. But now we've got a newborn. It's a bit different. We'll probably do like the caravan or something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out because it's great for kids to go to stuff like that too.
It is. We started going to the concert with our little one, and we have this, these things to block the sound.
Yeah, like ear protectors. Yeah, like these. Yeah,
like this. Yeah, but without the sound, but the opposite.
Yeah.
And she likes it. She's been to a few concerts by now, and she started liking them. And I think it's good.
Yeah, it's a great experience. Yeah. It's great for them to see all that. It's an entirely different experience. It's important for them to have those for sure. Yeah. Especially at certain like types of music, because of nightlife can be a bit but if it's a certain type, then it can be absolutely great.
We took her away from Aphex Twin. She wouldn't bear it.
Oh really?
It's too hard. If it was an ambient concert, of course, questions asked, but not that type. It was like.
Yeah, or an outdoor festival, when there's loads of different stuff going on and like kids stuff as well. Like there's some really amazing festivals out there for all families, for sure. I've just realized the time. We've been talking for almost 2 hours already. That's crazy. Well, look, as I've just realized the time, it's perfect time to do the only other bit of structure in this entire thing, which is, and you probably, if you've listened, you hopefully caught this as well. But so towards the end, what I like to do is ask my guests to maybe share some of their thoughts on, bearing in mind that the audience is predominantly founders and entrepreneurs and stuff like that, who are maybe wanting to start out on their journey. You're at your point that you are in your journey. What are some tips, some advice, some tricks, anything that maybe comes to mind? It might be one thing, it might be a lot of things that you would maybe want to share for people out there.
I'd say from what we've talked about throughout the whole time, embrace the change and be ready to do new things. That's the big thing. And the small thing, just work. Sometimes you get too excited. What should I start with? What should I do? And then I'll just make a post. I'll put something in my schedule. I'll just work. And when you if you work every day by small steps, you will get on the track. That it helps to just move. Sometimes you can't be, I don't know, it can't be a track without any days when you don't want to do anything or you haven't done anything, etc. So don't be scared by that fact, because for me, for instance, I'm now in a new position. There's nobody above me. I have to drive the whole thing, and I'm learning to be the driver. And if something didn't work one day, just relax and come back to it the next day. So it's just the change of your whole role, and it will bring you a lot of new things, and you need to embrace them. And even if something doesn't work cool today, just do again tomorrow, come back and do again, and you'll get there. That's what helps me, at least. I can't give it advice. It's just
that's good advice.
Too high, but that's what worked for me. And if it will help somebody, I'll be happy. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I like asking for this advice. That's good advice, and everyone has different pieces of advice, and everyone listening will hopefully take what works for them. But I really like what you said in the beginning there of essentially, if everyone's got a huge list of things to do.
Yeah.
Just tick one off. Yeah. You don't have to tick them all off. Just focus on one, and ideally find one that's realistic to begin with, and just work and just go from there. But you've got to start, right?
Yeah. Because I think the problem is you can just get scared and just drop the whole thing. Oh my God, this is too big. I can't do that. Yeah. You don't want that to happen. So if something scary happens, you get scared. You just do something.
Yeah.
Just start folding T-shirts.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like if you're going to tidy your room, you've got to start somewhere, right? So what do? You pick that one thing up off the floor. Like, it's just, you've got to make a start, and then once you're in it, and the next thing you know, you're not worrying about all of that stuff anymore. You're focused on the bigger picture. So even some of the founders and CEOs I've spoken to of some enormous projects, some big companies, they still have to take the same approach. And they didn't get there without that approach. So, it's not like it's unobtainable. It's just you don't go from there to there. You have to go from there to here, to here, to here. And I think we forget that,
Yeah.
The other thing is we have time.
Yes.
Everyone thinks we don't, but we do. It's okay.
There is no boss above us to say,
right.
You have to do it tomorrow.
Well, until you get investors.
I'm kidding.
Until you get investors.
Until you get investors, until you get retailers, until you get customers, users.
Right. Then you're all your bosses. Yeah, exactly. And in some ways, your team is like almost your boss, right? To a degree.
Absolutely.
It's just a different dynamic. But As
Yeah,
opposed to answering someone, you then have people relying on you. It's a very different type of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different type, but it's a nice type, by the way. So, it's
and one that isn't too different from the dynamic of being a parent, right? In some ways, because you have people, a child relying on you. You have someone relying on you making the right decisions and doing the right things, and that's why a lot of people refer to startups as their children, because it's much the same sort of thing, isn't it? It's about reliance.
I think so. Reliance, and there is no one else to put things together, to hold things, and that's the thing.
Yeah. Well, good advice. Thank you so much. And and that's it. You managed it. See, wasn't that bad, was it?
Wasn't bad. There were points when I really stopped thinking about me being recorded or something.
Good. I'm glad. I'm really glad.
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Well, good. I'm glad, and I enjoyed talking to you. And we'll definitely have to do this again in the future. Get part 2 in and hear what's been going on since we last spoke. And look, we'll chat about things anyway after this, and keep in touch on things. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Enjoy your weekend, and take care. We'll speak soon.
Thank you. Add my app link to.
Yes. Oh yeah, it will. It'll be in the description. Yeah, it will. It'll be in the description. The website I showed, shall I, that one, or is there a different one?
Yes, that's the one. We're updating it, by the way. It's going to be updated, and of course.
Yeah, and like I said, by the time this comes out, it will be there in a way. And I'll put your profile in there for LinkedIn as well if anyone wants to follow you. It'll be there. Don't worry. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching and/or listening. Please like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments below.